As we get started, I know I've never shared this before. Most of my videos that you've seen, I wear Hawaiian shirts. There is a reason I'm doing that, is to keep me focused on I want to live that retired beach life and have that flexibility. So I wear these Hawaiian shirts. Not today. Today is right before Thanksgiving. And you can see my Buc-ee's Thanksgiving shirt. All of us here in Texas, it's just interesting. Some of y'all may have heard of Buc-ee's, but it's a gas station that has become a tourist attraction. And I'm wearing this here at the office, about to celebrate Thanksgiving this week. But you'll see me again here soon in my Hawaiian shirts, and that is why I'm wearing them, to remind me of my goals and where I'm heading. I'm almost there here in the next few years and be able to retire and hopefully get to live some of that beach life. I want to discuss the advantages of build to rent, and then also share kind of my long-term plans. A couple of things that I really enjoy with the build to rent model. For one thing, I love the building and putting my fingerprint on it. But I've been able to build these with about 20% equity. And what I'm trying to find is lots that are in that $15,000 to $20,000 per door. The model seems to work in my area for the rents that we can receive. The other thing, I've got my build costs right now dialed in. Most of the projects we're running between $111 to $113 a square foot for the entire build, with all the cost included. So we've been able to build these, and I call it gain forced equity through what it costs to build it to what it appraises for. We're getting about 20% equity. And then the other thing that I enjoy with it is, because they're brand new, repairs don't happen for many years. I'm figuring looking at 5 to 7 years before any big repairs are needed. And that allows me time to save up money for repairs, vacancy, and capital expenditures. It gives that time over several years to save that up, because I'm trying to save, in a sense, about 6 months worth of expenses per property. And because I don't have many repairs, especially the first year I'm under a builder's warranty. And so any of those repairs that need to be done, it's being warranted and fixed without any cost to me. So it allows that first year, especially, no repairs are coming out of my pocket. And then because there's not many repairs going forward, it's usually about 5 to 7 years before I start seeing repairs. My first build was finished in 21, and we're going on 4 years now, and I still don't have any major repairs that have been done, just actually from turnovers, light touch-up paint, and all the flooring is still in good condition. We don't put carpet in there. We put vinyl plank in there, and so far all the appliances, everything is performing, and we haven't had any repairs, and we're going on year 4. The other thing that I like, and I'm thinking about this for by the time I am gone and passing this on to my kids, as I was looking at getting into owning investment property, I wanted to pass along properties that would not be too old. And so I did enjoy the build process, but I looked at it and said, okay, when I'm gone, and say that's in that 25 to 30 years from now, as I'm here in my 50s, I'm building these properties out. By the time I'm gone, they're inheriting properties that are in that 30 years or so old, which are still in great condition, as I plan to take good care of them. But I was looking at that, and if I were to buy properties now that, say, were built in the 70s, 80s, that age of properties, by the time I'm gone, if I want to pass on these properties, they're going to be 60, 70 years old plus, and some of them even older than that, and they would need lots of more maintenance. So I wanted to have newer properties that cash flowed, had forced equity from the beginning. As I'm looking in the market in my area, buying those properties on the resale market, I'm able to get over a 10% cash on cash return, because I've got that appreciation. I'm only having to put a small amount down. that cash flows in that 10, 15% down, which leaves me with a loan to value of about 65% from the very beginning, which is where I want to be as I'm getting close to retirement here, less than 5 years from now. I'm looking at that and starting out in a position of 65% loan to value is really secure. And down the road, I might be doing some cash outs. And kids, if you hear this, you're going to get leveraged properties. I'm going to live off of them. One of the things I've heard our kids ask, they ask us, hey, Dad, how many properties do we own? And I pause and I say, we don't own anything. Your mom and I own these properties, and we're going to live out of them for the rest of our retirement and have those leveraged. And heck, my goal is when I'm gone, my wife and I, the last check bounces. They get what's left. But the other thing is when they do, they will get these stepped up in basis. When they inherit them, when we are gone, if it's say we bought them or built them at $500,000 and they're worth $1 million, they will get them as a step up in basis. But the other thing I wanted to share is some of the things that I was listening to a video today with Michael and Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth. She creates a lot of content on investment properties, and I would encourage you to listen to her. But she was talking about those very things of the build to rent model, that you pass those along to your hopefully, well, for us, for our children, that are much newer properties than if we were to buy on the resale market something 20, 30, or 40 years old. She liked that, and we had talked about that before. But then also, we as me in the Gen X category, I did not get a lot of financial training and financial literacy from my parents or even from school. So one of the things that's important to me as I'm training my kids to eventually get these properties is to teach them financial literacy. I do talk to them a lot about the financials of these builds and how they're doing, and how, it starts off small, that these are cash flowing at $200 to $300 on most of these that we've built so far. But over time, it gets more and more. But I'm wanting to teach them financial literacy. And one of the things that I've encouraged them to do, and I'm sharing these ideas, maybe you might consider them, is I've got an 18, 17, and 13-year-old, and I've had my oldest daughter start reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad to begin opening up her mind to how money works. And I'm about to have my 17-year-old do the same thing. With my 13-year-old, I've had him read Rich Dad, Poor Dad for teens, and he's really started to understand pieces of it. The other thing that we've done is played with the older ones, played the cash flow game, and I would encourage you to take a look at that. Start playing that with my daughter about to leave the home here in the next few years. We want to train her in how to handle money. And same thing with my middle daughter, who's 17. One of the things in our household is we don't say we can't afford it. We say, how can we afford it? And same thing with our kids. We give them a very small allowance, but we have them work for it. And if they don't do their chores, we're taking some of that money back from them. They didn't do their chores. But my middle daughter, I'll give you an example. She last year started a cookie making business. She loves to bake, and she began making cookies for Christmas and sold dozens of cookies. This year she's doing it again for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And what we've added to it is we're going to have her at the end take all the revenue she received for the dozens upon dozens of cookies she's made and delivered, add up the revenue. We make them pay for all the expenses for their business. They're going to deduct that from the revenue, but we're going to create a simplified profit and loss statement for her little business, and then go through it and show her, here's your revenue, here's your expenses, this is your profit, divide it by the dozens. She was selling them by the dozens. Here's how much you made per dozen. Do you think that's reasonable and fair? Did you calculate it right? If she only made $1 per dozen, for how many hours did she work? We're going to put all these numbers together and let her do it first. I'm going to have her compile the numbers because we all know we learn from firsthand knowledge better. I'm going to have her compile the numbers herself, and then I'm going to show her how to analyze it, teach her that, and then have her share with me whether she felt like for the amount of hours that she put in, was it worth it? I hope it is. If it isn't, maybe there's a learning curve in there. But allow her from this small little lesson, do this. We also, my son's going to start doing a lawn business. It's going to be small at first at 13, but we are having them actually he's going to pay for his own lawn equipment. I figure it'll teach him to take better care of it. He'll understand the costs. He'll have a few lawns to mow the first year as I inspect them and learn them. Inspect them and teach him if he's done it well and how to do it even better, what to expect and what a high level of product to put out when he mows and all the ins and outs of doing that. The other thing we do with our children, we have a property management business. We began a few years ago having them do some of the cleanings on the make-readies. Some were harder than others, and I did this for a couple of reasons. To teach work ethic, and we do inspect them, and if they aren't done well, they have to go back and do it right at that high level, but also to appreciate where they live. We know, as all of us parents, we say sometimes our kids are so spoiled, and I'm trying to impact them now, as I'm sure you want to do the same things. We've chose to do this where they're seeing different conditions, and we are actually allowing them to clean some that are kind of rougher, and so that they can appreciate how they live and hopefully clean their rooms better themselves. We're doing some of those things to train them. And I just wanted to share those things that we've done. Came from a video today that I listened to. Casey discussed that with her daughter from Brick by Brick Wealth. And I thought I'd share a little bit with you of the advantages of the build to rent model, but also some ideas of how to train kids and teaching them financial literacy. We're going to be doing that just this weekend. Here it's Thanksgiving, doing this weekend with some of my daughter's seniors in high school. They've actually asked to have a discussion on financial literacy. That's how they are realizing that they're missing these things. These things are not taught by many parents, and I hope you are getting inspired to do this. It's not taught at the schools. We as parents, we need to be doing this and teaching our kids good financial literacy skills and how they handle money, and then opportunities not to be victims, but to be proactive in how to earn money and how to be in control of their own financial future. So I thought I'd share this. Wish you a great Thanksgiving and good times with friends and family.